the host. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today. This is the first pilot episode for Sustained Ability. I'll be launching a website soon. I've chosen the domain. It'll be sustained.studio. So I'm really excited to have you all here today. The first thing I want to do is give a round robin. My name is Benjamin Ariel Thomas. I am the founder of multiple organizations, but here today we're discussing Sustained Studio, which is my new organization focused on helping community activists engage with their audience, whether it's your volunteers, your employees, your family, your community, your neighbors. We want to make sure that you're engaging with those folks because when you get caught up in the work, sometimes you don't get to engage with the people. So that's my main purpose today. And today is Fun Friday. So it's all about creating fun and engaging opportunities. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and start with a round robin. I'm gonna pass it to Kurt Roskoff because I really appreciate him allowing me this opportunity to partner with the Spirit of the Game Foundation. So I'm gonna pass it to him, and we're gonna talk about your name, and then I want to know the name of your company, and then your mission, the core mission for your entity. So we'll start with Kurt.
All right, folks. Yes, indeed. I am Kurt Roskoff, aka Special K, here to brighten up your day. So let's get underway. My organization is the World of Ability Podcast Network. Our mission is to get the 6 billion people on the planet that aren't as much associating themselves, affiliating themselves, interacting with the 2 billion people on the planet that identify as having a disability. They create unity in this way in community, and they'll see that manifesting in face spaces, service spaces, educational spaces, civic spaces, work spaces, and yes, on Fun Friday, all those fun places with arts and entertainment and sports, rec, hobbies, pastime, leisure activities, travel, whatever it is. When we say you work to live, what's living it to you? Because it's time to do it right now on Fun Fry. Yay! All right, Benjamin, go ahead.
All right, so I'm passing it to William Essery. He is a Vanderbilt grad with a great experience in sustainability, ecology. So introduce yourself, Will.
Yeah, my name is Will. Study sustainability at Vanderbilt. Done a lot of volunteering with food-related nonprofits, organic farms, other sustainability initiatives. Used to do door-to-door fundraising for Greenpeace and the Sierra Club. And yeah, interested to see how this podcast goes. Interested to hear from everybody.
Thank you. And then we'll pass it to Emily next.
Emily actually needs, well, unless you want to say something, Emily, but I know you were talking about 20 minutes, but you unmuted, Emily. What do you want to say at the moment?
I'm sitting on my I'll talk later.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right, we're moving on to John.
Yeah, thank you, Benjamin. Nice to be here. I have no idea what we're going to be doing until you just mentioned it. So that's a good thing, the inaugural. And I'm here with Kurt and Emily's and Sue's invitation here. And what I do is I'm a whole food plant-based certified lifestyle medicine coach. And I address the two biggest problems we have in our communities today. That is generational poor health, generational poverty. And I want to take it to the next level is those who agree with the problems and solutions that we have to offer is those are people who I would love to have join a movement. And that movement is to establish their own generational legacy, but one that will last for generations to come. And we all need to do it together. So that's where I'm coming from, and just appreciate getting that message out there. I'm going to be doing my podcast TV show this week with my 84-year-old co-host. I'm 76, soon to be 77, and we have a message to elders, a message to the elders, but it's actually their caregivers who are really involved there, is that they are the ones who can really make a difference. Our elders, unfortunately, have manifested, and I'm speaking in general, have manifested to the point where their health is really taking our country down, as well as other countries, as well as communities. So that's what I'm all about, is really with action plans, with solutions, taking care of our elders as well as the generations that are following them.
Yes, sir. That's awesome. My father's just a few years younger than you, so he always says life starts over when you turn 65. So he's 72, living full time in Calabar, Nigeria.
Wow.
And you never know what might happen in life. That's awesome that you're specifically helping that community. So one thing we want to talk about today, the starting line. We're here to talk about, our mission, our vision, and our values. So our mission is, what are we doing today? An example, feeding the hungry, helping people in need. The vision, the future that we want to see. A city where nobody goes to bed hungry, where there's opportunities for all the people who are overlooked. And then our values, how we treat each other while we work. So respect, honesty, and fun. So today, one of the core values we're going to talk about is fun. So you want everybody to show up, right? You want to fill a room. It's hard to get that sometimes when you're doing the work. Like if you're out doing community cleanups, if you're working in hospitals, if you're going out, it's really hard. So you've got to schedule time to just enjoy your community, because when you're loving them folks and you're helping them, sometimes you don't get to really experience just that moment of peace and clarity. So everyone's got to prioritize that. So for example, you're like, oh, I don't know who's going to show up. The first thing we're going to talk about today is making a flyer. Making a flyer is extremely important, even if it's for a small group of people, even if it's 3 or 4 people. If you tell them we're going to have bingo night on Friday and you just tell everybody, they might show up. But when you send out, an email or, telegram message to your group, just let them know with a quick, beautiful flyer, they'll be able to really have more face in the name. So Eventbrite, Posh, all of these apps where you create events is really important, because it's going to help you reach more people. It's going to help know who's showing up by them registering. So you really want to prioritize making a true flyer. And I suggest Canva, which is a really easy tool, way easier than Adobe. And then also prioritizing that engagement. So first of all, make the flyer, put it on Eventbrite. Even if you only expect a few people to show up, you'll really benefit in the long term. And it doesn't have to be recurring. Just do it when you can. And you always want to follow up. So I have a rule called the 3-day reminder. So we're moving on to number 2. We're doing 4 pieces in this, and you guys can stop me at any time for more insight. But there's a 3-day reminder. So, like, for example, we've got an event coming up on Friday. You want to remind everybody on Tuesday. You want to remind them every day, but make sure that at least 3 days ahead that your community knows it's happening. Let them know 2 weeks, a month. I always plan big events 3 months ahead, but you want to make sure that you touch base with folks. You might give them a call. You might send out a mass email, but you've got to make sure that everybody's ready to show up. And then rule number 3, the +1 rule. Ask everybody to show up with somebody. Don't just say, hey, I want to see everybody at the co-working space and we're going to sit down and we're going to play Uno and it's going to be great. No, tell them to invite their family. If folks have kids, tell them that bring your family, bring your kids with you, because the first thing they're going to say is, hey, I'm going to be fixing dinner. I'm going to be, coming back home from soccer practice. You want to give them a place where they can bring everyone in that safe environment and really enjoy the community. So make sure that everybody's inviting a +1 so you can not only engage, but grow and share that experience with their family and friends. So rule number 4, capture the memory. Tell people you'll be taking photos. Make sure they know, because not every organization can really, be as public. So you want to let people know, hey, we're going to be filming this event. We're going to be taking photos. We might have a photo wall for headshots because people need to see themselves be a part of something great. So they need to see it from the outside. Let them see themselves shining because when you put this hard work in, it's unrewarding. So we want to reward ourselves by memorializing these amazing experiences. So we always suggest bring in a photographer, partner with somebody who's building their portfolio. If you're a larger organization, bring in a content manager and who's going to actually go on site, who's going to actually take pictures, who's going to put out content. But those are the 4 rules for the show up strategy, how to fill your room. So the rules again are make a flyer and an event link so people can register. 3-day reminder, at least 3 days ahead, especially if you only got 4 or 5 people. And then a +1 rule for everybody. Make sure they're bringing a friend. And then number 4, capture the memories. Don't let those memories just go away. Did anybody have any ideas about the core 4 for the show up strategy? Or is that just pretty straightforward? You guys want me to keep going ahead?
Well, I guess I'll just give feedback that what you went through is imperative. John and I here, we participate in other groups, and now that this is for even business sake. So you're talking about monkey business, but I'm talking about any business. So the idea is, yeah, the idea it's mastery of invitation and to not just look at your own success, bringing people into the activity, but to be a little bit of a leader, a little bit of power of suggestion, your +1, and to hold people's hands through it, to have these elements of convenience. Like right here being on Fun Friday. How did John get in here? I used the Zoom feature where Zoom can call his Zoom account from my Zoom account. He's answering a Zoom call like a telephone call, and whoop, he pops in, doesn't know what's going on. It's just like answering the phone call, like, okay, why'd you call? But he's on here because I invited him. So, Ben, you and I coordinated this. You told me about Will. And I'm like, hey, I've got a fun guy. He's not a
Yeah,
mushroom, but he maybe values it. But John, what do you got? Now he wants to speak for
Well,
himself.
I'd like to indulge here. I what Kurt is saying is he got me to this call. I had no idea what it was about, but because of our relationship and to know that we are very much aligned, I put Kurt as one of my priorities of the relationship building that I have done. So what would have been really helpful, but it doesn't matter. I mean, what does matter here is, the core of who we all are and where we're going. But what really does matter is the relationship, but also purpose. Why are we here? What's the meaning of this meeting right now? And when you do your 4 point, sending a flyer, to really reach, your right audience to know that, this is what we're here for, to have fun, fun
yeah,
Friday. I love that. And so, because we all are on a journey, we all on a journey. God has given us, and this is my interpretation, is I've got it down to 13 words about our purpose for each one of us, for me especially. But this is my awareness is it's God, serve others. May all beings be loving, joyful, and blessed, because we're all here for a journey. We are all here to enjoy the journey, but it's also to connect with others too. So that's my lecture for today. That's it.
that's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that, John. Um, Yeah, and so the next phase of this round, we're going to talk about ideas, how you would like to engage with your community. So I'm going to actually go in a round robin, and I want to hear what you guys' ideas are, some things that you think might work, and also if there's things that you tried in the past that didn't work, or if you have any ideas on how you can increase engagement with your community, whether it's virtually or in person. And then once I get a little bit of insight from you all, then we'll go over some ideas as a group. And then at the end, we'll have some questions and then see, do a little bit of brainstorming at the end. So yeah, anybody want to chime in? John, have you done any community engagement events with the seniors, whether online or in person?
Yes, I have. And just to answer your question directly, is that my this weekend we're going to be doing our 4 series our 4 episode series with my 84-year-old co-host, who is a fitness trainer. He's been doing that for 45 years. And we are going to be eventually reaching out to, we would love to get, 1 million households, or like Kurt and I joke around, where this is all leading to is that we've got 8.2 billion people on this planet. Do we have enough nutrition for everybody? You're darn right we do. Is it possible? Well, if you say it, it is possible. So we think big, we dream big, and it's really starting with our TV show, our podcasts that we are going to be doing. And I love the things that you're doing, Benjamin, about your 4 part way of doing it. And Kurt and I have been working on ways of doing that too, whether it be a Zoom call or new technology to really get this message out here so we can get engagement for the right audience. So, yeah, I actually am reaching out to the community in such a way that I've done that in the past here I live in Sacramento, and I'm very connected to our um, well, there's a lot of nursing and facilities and assisted living places, but I've reached out to the one that used to be a leading icon representative in the nation, actually on a global basis, and it's called the Asian Community Center. And what they have is they have 400 employees, they have 100 residences, and they used to be a 5-star rating before COVID. They're at 2-star. They're raising it to 3 now, but they've lost over $20 million in the last five years.
Oh,
And what's happening to these assisted living places is it's unsustainable because their residences, their residents are really unsustainable health issues that they have that's taking the employees down, everybody down. And that is the root cause of why our society, our nursing homes, facilities, et cetera, are going. It's also applies to the homeless too. And what's happening here? It's their health. Their health is at risk here, and it's what we're doing here in the United States and other countries is it's getting to be an unsustainable situation.
yeah. So I like what you said there, and I'm glad that you and your co-host are doing that. And I would love to get involved because I mean, if this he's 85 and he's been a trainer for over 40 years, I mean, that's amazing. I never heard that before. That's really cool. And so I could see you guys hosting stuff and getting folks active and getting, mobile, even if it was virtually, getting those folks together, like having a bike day where everybody is riding their stationary bike at one time. Like, I used to work in this company and the CEO had a Peloton and he was giving people a Peloton discount just to ride on the Peloton with him in a meeting. And I like the idea of just making sure that everybody's getting up and getting active. And then I also like the idea of community organizations using these fun events to be like cleanup events or ways to get everybody out of their rooms so these nurses can come in and redo the spaces, kind of have a field day in these homes so they can get higher level quality. They ought to be taking everybody out of the facility and getting everything redone while they have kind of a spa day. And I
Wow.
really believe in that. So yeah,
I
the
love
next.
that, Benjamin. I love that. I love what you just said because it's everybody involved here. And
Mhm.
what you're saying, see those waves behind me? 85-year-old Rico actually still surfs. At 85 years old,
Wow.
he's a surfer. And me being 77 this in a couple of months, there's a little golf course right here. This is the coast of Oregon, and there's a
Mhm.
little golf course. And actually, it's a big major life destination for golfers. It's Bandon Dunes in Oregon on the Oregon coast, and that's a little glimpse of the golf course right there in the corner. So, yeah, what you're saying is spot on.
That's really cool. I mean, I could see you having everybody out there and having multiple carts going and having maybe 10 or 15 people on the range. And that's what it's all about right there. And that's the best exercise for, the elderly community because you get so many steps when you're doing 18 holes. You'll probably get 10,000 steps doing 18 holes,
About
you know.
15 to 16,000, depending on if you have a cart or walking. Yeah.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. That's a great way to do it. Um, yeah. Anybody else had any ideas? Kurt, are you doing any engagement with the veteran community with Project Die Hard? Anything fun that you might have in mind?
Yeah, I think like when you talk about the veteran community, it's very powerful when a veteran is seeing the participation of another veteran, especially the opportunity to interact with another veteran in the veteran community that is, in a general sense, we don't want to speak for every veteran, but it's very pervasive, predominant in the veteran community. So that is huge. And I think just as a general rule. I think when we set up an activity and so forth on our own ideas, when we're hosting, facilitating, we everybody's wondering, what am I participating in? You got to go. But the more we can get feedback from past participants, so this is an ongoing thing or has
Mhm.
been done before, because I think when a person is able to kind of suggest something, and then they see you taking up their suggestion, that's self-efficacy.
Mhm.
And that draws people in because now they're a person that's kind of like, wow, this is cool. I asked Kurt to do this, that, or the other thing, and he's doing this thing that I recommended him to do.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
they're maybe going to join in and partner with you to now kind of elicit, for the others to participate because they're kind of seeing a little ownership in it for
Yes.
themselves.
That is exactly what my first idea is about. I was about to talk about the first idea we talk about for fun, 5 fun ideas to try this month is about skill swapping. It's a networking event where everyone comes in with a name tag, or we do this virtually in a different context, and you write down one thing that you can teach and one thing that you want to learn. And that way, when you have a group of specialists and people like you're talking about, veterans, they can come together and some of those guys can say, well, I was a machinist. I I can fabricate car parts. I could literally rebuild a whole GTO. I'm a mechanic. But you know what? I want to learn more about digital marketing because I've never marketed myself as an entrepreneur. And then there's a guy who's there. He says, well, I'm an entrepreneur and I suck at working on cars. And then they'll be able to kind of mesh together. So it's really great that you were able to talk about that, because the first idea from the 5 that I'm sharing today is a skill swap. And I think this works in every community, because we all want to know what everybody does. And, you know, we're going to call communities a minority. And when you notice that people are doing things that are uncommon in your community, it motivates you to get out there and do things that you might have never seen before. So this is really exciting. This is how you create first in history. This is how you do all that stuff. So it's exciting. And Will, did you have any comments on community engagement stuff? Maybe something that was fun or weird, or something that you ever did that was cool that you liked? Because I know you worked with so many different community organizations. Just wondering if there's any ideas or something that you might have experienced that was fun for a community organization.
First of
Especially,
all, first of all, that skill swapping, I love that idea. I feel like I've heard that before, but um, I haven't heard about it in a long time, and it seems really cool. Um, Things I've seen. I mean, anything that like gets people together, like doing the same thing, like um, volunteering, like planting trees or picking up
Yeah.
trash, or uh, doing like fun like icebreaker things, like improv games, or like um, I don't know, things like that that get people moving like in their bodies. Um, those things are great. Um, yeah,
That's
that's what I have to say.
That's great. See, you guys must have ESP or something, because you guys are all hyper intuitive. Because number 2 is called the neighborhood safari, leading a group, through the local area for a walk, pointing out wins, like showing the new garden that you built, showing a mural that was recently made, going to a local shop that we help support or that supports us, and going out in the community as a group and going and experiencing stuff and just walking around, and literally costs nothing. You just walk everybody around like a caravan. And I want to really give a huge shout out to Recycle Reinvest, based out of Nashville, Tennessee. They've been doing community cleanups in some very important areas for well over 5 years. And big shout out to Recycle Reinvest. They've been doing community cleanups, cookouts, free haircuts to the community. I mean, you name it, they've done it, and so Recycle Reinvest, they were able to take the concept of recycling and youth education and put it together in these community cleanup exercises where everybody goes through and they're picking up and they're recycling, and the business, like, it's grown into like this entity, and they have a co-working space and all these amazing things. So shout out to Jaffe Judah from Recycle Reinvest, because they really embody, pairing fun with community impact. And they're on my list of people that I support. So when we're raising funds and trying to push for some of these communities, that's one of this has a strong place in my heart. So yeah, the neighborhood safari, getting everybody out there, and the result is it gets families involved and it helps people appreciate the physical community that they're actually fighting for. So that's really exciting. So, okay, so moving on, we got three more ideas. So we're calling this one the solution board. It's kind of like a happy hour, like a social. So everybody puts up a big piece of paper. On one side, you write challenges, and then on the other side, you write bright ideas. And then it turns a casual social hour into a low pressure way to solve community problems together. And the Nashville Black Assembly, I experienced this. This is one of the best exercises I had, because we were talking about different community issues in the Black community, such as gentrification, all kinds of different things. And so basically, hearing people's personal opinions and their factual knowledge based on demographics and based on our experiences, and seeing how the things that are challenges and the things that are possible mesh together. And we also see how these solutions are only going to come about if we take the initiative to bring it up. And huge shout out to the National Black Assembly, because they identify those problems in our community and they make them apparent so we can solve them. So yeah, we call that the solution board. So yeah, challenges, bright ideas, and let's act on them. And that's fun, but it can get real heated because there's some serious stuff going on in every community. And we'll all have different opinions, but we'll work together. So number 3, solution board. We're moving on to just a classic game night. Who doesn't love a game night? I'll beat all you guys in Uno right now. I don't think any of you could beat me in Uno. I might go to Vegas and play Uno, so we can do charades, board games, trivia. And, laughter is a bridge. So when people laugh together, they develop a level of comfort that makes future hard conversations a lot easier to have. So you might want to sit down and have a Connect 4 championship. It costs you nothing. And you're gonna see who's competitive, who's not. It's gonna be fun. You're gonna have a lot to talk about. So you could take a stack of Uno cards and turn it into a whole night. And I mean, I've bonded so much through my family with Uno and all these different games. And just a regular game night. And I kind of advise against some of those risque games. I think Cards Against Humanity, some of these things, it may not be appropriate, so you want to just keep it vanilla, keep it chill, and just have regular games. Moving forward, the last thing is called the Legacy Blitz. So you pick one small visible object, like painting a fence, planting a tree, or cleaning a lot, and you spend 2 hours doing it together. It's a quick win, and seeing a physical change gives the group a huge boost of confidence. So, even for example, when I was at Make Nashville, another huge shout out to a local nonprofit, Make Nashville did a community cleanup day. And this was about two years ago. And they decided that, hey, we've got all this sawdust from our woodworking area. We've got all this stuff, crammed in these areas. We need help. So they scheduled an event, and they had pizza, in the afternoon, and they had donuts and coffee in the morning. and they had it set up for about 8 to 12 hours, where it was strategically cleaned, where all the members showed up. They got, I think, about 500 members total, so they had maybe 50 people show up, and they moved the entire 10,000 square foot warehouse around. And the cleanup, freeing up those spaces and getting all that stuff out of there, was able to set them up for a full remodel. So the whole space has been sectioned off. Now they put up plastic wall for the woodworking, so there's no more sawdust going out of that area. They were able to move the kilns for the clay space and have more shelving so they can now work better. But in order for them to get in that position, they needed to leverage the help from their group so they could get in position for later. And it was great. I mean, I've seen them do a lot of cool stuff, like having like a showcase with local artists, and yeah, they do a lot of cool stuff. So yeah, pick a problem and make it a solution. If the office is messy, or if there's a need for maybe you want to put a new yard in, we're gonna get out there and we're gonna do some landscaping together. We're gonna lay this side down. It's a community exercise. So I'm calling that the legacy blitz. And so I'll move on and ask I just only got two more questions. And the floor is you guys, the floor is yours when I ask these two questions. But which of these five ideas sounds like it would work best for your group's specific mission right now? And I'll go around the world and let you guys chime in. I'll ask Kurt. What do you think that works best for you, and what's something that you think you might implement from today's session?
Well, I think the bottom line to all this is, service to others, providing the clarity, getting creative. To what I was speaking to before, like allow it to be a co-created experience, and there's an element of diligence. And when you're the one initiating and engaging and hosting, there's an expectation of all the detail and all the service will be provided by you. So to be on the ready for that. And then just not forgetting to ask. You don't
Yeah,
get what you don't ask. So like you're talking about the plus one and all that. To lean into it, and people in general are ready to help and provide, but a lot of time they sit back and they don't speak up about that. But when they're asked, they're like, "Oh yeah, I can this, that, or the other thing," or I got some friends that I could bring along. It's about opening the door.
yeah, that's brilliant. John, Will, did you guys have any comments about today's session? Which idea sounds like it will work best for you?
Well, I love your idea about community engagement and going to a fun event. And I did that at my church this weekend. And what it is, and I'm doing it right now actually. I'm in a fun event right here, but I'm also eating my air fries that I just 100% compliant whole food plant based nutrition. And I did that to the church this Sunday. Is They had a cake for a celebration, and it was laden with And I'm not judgmental at all. I treat people with compassion now instead of judgment as far as their health and what they put into their bodies. But it's to make it fun. Is I brought a fruit, nuts, cashews, pecans, and it was a kind of a real with dates, and it was really sweet, really tasty, but it was also 100% compliant as far as the ingredients about what we put into our bodies. And so that's what I see that you just mentioned here, Benjamin, is that particular way of doing things, making it fun, but also of great benefit. And excuse me, I do have to go. I'm overdue
Oh,
to be somewhere else. So, you know,
thank you so much for joining. That we're wrapping it up. I only have one more question, and then we'll pass it around to um, the last question was, what is one challenge you faced in getting people to show up to non-work events, and how can we fix it? I'm actually having you answer that before you go, John.
okay, ask it one more time. I'm sorry.
What is one challenge you faced in getting people to show up to non-work events, and how can we fix it?
Probably their time is this a priority for them in their life to attend something? Is fun a priority for them? Or is it, trying to survive and getting their families fed or whatever it is to bring the bottom line is to connect with people, to have fun and enjoyment of everybody. And if you can get on that same wavelength with people, then that has probably been my biggest challenge, is to understand that our health and our connections are so huge. And if people can prioritize that, then you put events in that way, present that to them, then you will get them to come.
That's brilliant, John. Thank you so much for that tidbit of wisdom.
You're very welcome. Thank you, Benjamin. Thank you, everybody. I'll
Thank
see you
you.
later. Bye-bye.
See you. Now that's a clip if I know one. So yeah, the floor is you guys. If you want to chime in, you can just come off mute. But I'm beginning to sign off. The biggest challenge that I've found in getting people to show up is just making sure that they know. You want people to be aware. You wanna get the word out. You want to have a formal, ticketing system. You want to make sure that you know who's there. Make sure you stick to the first four that we started with. Keep that top of mind. But yeah, if nobody has any comments, my name is Benjamin Ariel Thomas. This is Sustained Ability, and our website is going to be sustained.studio. I look forward to doing this. My goal is to do this 5 days a week. Today is a pilot, so we'll see what we arrange for next week and see if we'll be posting here soon. But I am really grateful for Kurt for extending this opportunity to me through the Spirit of Game Foundation, and for Will for showing up, John for showing up, Emily for being here, and looking forward to the next one. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Ben. Yeah, I guess I'll just say I love the idea. I'll echo what John was saying about making things fun. I feel like that's so important, and that's like a underlying theme of like what we've been talking about. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, like
keep
playing
it fun.
games or like getting people to dance, like or sing along to something or clap to something. It's really like or playing games. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what
keeping
I'll
it fun, keeping people's mind going, keeping it engaging.
yeah.
We're here to really get into it, not just be here. Like I like that. I like that a lot, and I do want to do something with his senior group, because I think it'd be really cool to receive some wisdom from them while teaching something new. So we're gonna look into doing something with that group and try to get my father involved with it as well, chiming in from Nigeria. Kurt, did you have any final comments as well?
Um, well, I mean, an example, like when you talked about challenges, I run a daily event. My wife Sue really hosts it and facilitates it, and we do the shakedown. It was something that was started by somebody who has MS and started it end of April 2020 because he was noticing, sensing a little physical decline, staying safer at home, and the extra sedentary, reality with that. So he created 15 minutes of music and motion so that he'd get active. He's a drummer and all that. Um, when things opened up again, he got back to his drum circles and all that. So my wife and I took it over, and we have a few other friends. Well, and Emily here, we all keep it going. And I just always saw that as an activity that I would have thought that people around us would have flocked to, but there's just a little something about, saying you're going to move and movement, and they may check it off their list. They already got that covered at the gym, or they take their own walks, or not interested, whatever it is. So it's interesting to, just really find the thing that's going to resonate with another person and other people, and, help draw the attendance that we're, feeling we're set up for, and surprised when it's not as many as we had hoped. So the crusade continues. So great stuff for today. Thanks for providing.
Thank you. I'm glad that it was helpful, and just glad to be here, man. I really think that creating experiences that have brevity is going to always grow the connection with the community, because if it's something that they really remember, that they really value, they're gonna be ready for it again. So yeah, keep it fun, keep it purposeful, and make sure that you're just living in God's purpose. Helping others, doing the right thing, and yeah, we're gonna have fun while doing it. So happy Fun Fridays.
Actually, I just remembered one thing I'll add. I don't think we talked about, unless we did. Uh, Providing food. It's like I remember when I was in college.
Yeah.
Like if a student org like said in their like event thing that they were gonna have food, tons of people showed up. And then when even if they weren't interested, they showed up because they wanted the food. And then
Yeah,
they
I
would.
should have put that in my slide. Yeah, because with the trusted tradesman, the food is
Mhm.
the end all catch. Because
Yeah.
folks love to come get a plate, and most of the time they smell the food and they just show up and they say, "Hey, I heard there was food over here," and they sit down and they get fed intellectually. So yeah, that's
Hmm.
really good. That's definitely going to go into the next slide. And we'll also in the future talk about having food sponsors, so your organization doesn't have to put out money on something that is finite. So hopefully we'll have a course here soon about that. But yeah, the food definitely gets people. I mean, I'll probably be going somewhere later on this afternoon just because there's food there. So yeah, keeping it fun, keeping it engaging. Emily, did you enjoy the session? Did you catch some of it?
A little bit of it, I thought it was good. The little bit of it that I did get, so yeah,
Nice. Got to keep it fun.
yes. But fun gets done, like Kurt likes to say. Otherwise, you're
Yeah.
not doing. Otherwise you're not gonna stick with it. So
Yeah,
it's
that is the catchphrase too.
fun.
I was supposed to say that today. What's fun gets done. Maybe we should do like something nerdy and like everybody say what's fun gets done together. And I'm gonna do 1, 2, 3, and everybody do it. All right, all right. 1, 2, 3. What's
But
fun gets
it's done.
done. All right. Happy Fun Friday. This is our first one. Every Friday I'm gonna say what's fun gets done. That's gonna be a great catch-all.